The following is a conversation with Ediz Saran, director of photography, now based in Berlin, originally from Izmir, Turkey. And he's worked across TV production, music videos, and other visual projects. I hope you guys enjoy this conversation.
Is it rolling or not?
Sorry?
It's rolling?
Yes, it's
Okay,
rolling.
perfect. We're ready.
So
Again,
thank you.
welcome. Thank you.
And so I have the first question because my math is really bad.
Okay.
And I somewhat googled your age.
Okay.
And let's guess it.
Okay. I'm 36.
Yes.
Yes, I'm 36.
I got
years
it.
old. Yes, you did.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Because it's only on one website. It's only shown on one website, the age.
Probably. I think it's not shown on the IMDb, but
Yes, exactly.
in my personal website it could be. I'm not sure about that.
So what I'm really interested in, just to get like a bit of background about you.
Absolutely.
You grew up in Greece. Sorry, I just had this beggars in Turkey.
Yes, I did.
And what was your first connection to art? I'm really interested in that.
Okay. I grew up in Turkey, in Izmir. It's a very western city where it's almost near to Greece. So we had this beautiful sunsets, you know. And also the weather is super nice, always, even in the wintertime. And with just the scenery itself, had a predominant place in our childhood, for most of my friends as well. But the thing is that with the nature, the sunsets, and this, also the architecture more or less looks like Greece. So it's like we call it Levanten. Levanten means the olden. How do you say? Let me just think about it. So it's just buildings that has been made from the olden people, but
Yes.
still on the surface,
Yes.
which also belongs to half Greek and half Turkish people. Back in the days, they just built
And you
something.
have Crete in between, right?
Yeah, absolutely, that one. So the scenery was the first touch, and I think the most important part was me to get in touch with the art was my uncle, because my uncle used to take photos. He still does, even though he's a doctor. I do remember that I was just trying to figure out his cameras, playing with his lenses and stuff like that. And I do remember that my first camera also was his last camera. He gave it to me, and then I started shooting photos back when I was in the elementary school, I guess. But it wasn't something unintentional. I was just doing these photos and watching movies. Back then we had this. We didn't have DVDs. We have to go to the VHS tapes.
The shop.
Yeah,
and
to the
everything,
shop. You
right?
have to rent them. And I started to stumble upon these beautiful masterpieces at some point in my life. And then I think it was in the middle school. I decided that I want to be a person who takes care or works in the cinema industry, but I didn't have any idea because I watched those films and I thought that it's something beautiful and I have to be a part of it. But at that time I didn't know what it takes to be in that field.
Yeah,
But,
especially with the films, right?
yeah. So I decided to study cinema even though I didn't have any understanding of cinema, and I keep that dream, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have made quite some movies, right?
Yes, I did. But for me, I studied cinema also in Turkey, back in Eskişehir, Anadolu University. It's one of the biggest cinema universities. Yeah, I mean, the highest education you can get in terms of cinema in Turkey. And also, by that time, I started working as assistants on the movies. And then when I graduated, I started working with this company that they only shoot commercials. So unfortunately, my network just get bigger around the
Yes.
commercials.
It's
But
different scene, right?
for the win, yeah, of course, of course, it's
That's a good
about that.
industry for the money, right?
Yeah, but for the win, it's I think the last 4 years I started doing this feature films and finally some television series, digital platform series, but mostly I do commercials. Yes.
So I'm actually interested in this difference between I don't know if it's because I'm not big in the film work.
Okay.
But is there a difference between cinema and television, and how do you feel the artistic approach?
Yeah. Yes, because In the television productions, your client, unfortunately I have to say that, but it's a client.
Yeah.
Your client is the channel, or the ones who rule the channel. So you have to stick with their terms.
And their intentions.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Even though the scenario is super free and you have working with this beautiful director or the scriptwriter, it should still have to be in some ways of their understanding. I mean, the CEOs of those the television channels. But when it comes to cinema, unfortunately, not like this anymore in today. But back then, it was like you had the money, or you funded the money, and you had the script, you had the intention, and you just go all the way through it.
Okay.
It was like that. But yeah, it's I mean, in the commercials and in the TV, it's more or less like you are just creating a recipe for their appetite. And you do that.
So there's less of artistic approach, right?
Absolutely.
So the writers who want to make movies, they go for cinema, right? And if they end up as a TV show, they get bought up usually, right?
Absolutely.
So you're born in Turkey, and when do you decide or do you have this idea of moving abroad? Is that something you feel because creative is not as big in Turkey, or is there more opportunity in Germany?
For me, it's like this. I've been in the industry for almost 13 years back in Turkey, and I have seen that it's not about blaming, people or the available resources, but it's blaming the understanding, So when it comes to creating art, back then in Turkey, it was like more on the commercial side. Yeah. So you do earn your money, you do create something beautifully still, but when it comes to doing whatever you like to do or to express yourself, it didn't have any space. So it didn't have any budget, it didn't have any space. So of course a lot of people are doing this, that maybe it was my fault. I couldn't manage it. But at that time I was thinking that okay, I did my earnings, I did my career in here, but okay, let's try something else. Let's try to build up my own voice and to better understand the future of mine.
So you teach yourself filming in Greece? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You teach yourself from a young age through your grandfather, right?
My uncle.
Uncle?
Yes.
Sorry, man. And then you went to Germany to study.
No, I studied in Turkey, and then I have moved to Germany back when I was, it was 2010. I did some little study in here in Wiesbaden. It was a Hochschule, so I attended the Hochschule Rhein-Main to study media management, and then I did my terms, and then went back to Turkey, completed my education. I graduated, started working in Turkey, and I'm like here for the last 3 months.
And you plan on staying longer?
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's more artistic.
Yes. And also, since I came here, all the people that I have met are just super crazy. I mean, not in a bad way, of course, but
I go barefoot.
So, yeah, but not in a bad way. But they are super open to any kinds of ideas. So they are super creative, super willing to do so.
Yeah.
And it's just, I love this vibe. I love this energy.
It's just let's do something and see where it goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without planning the budget, I mean, of course you have to plan some budget.
Sure.
Yeah, they are not just keeping themselves, distant from what you're going to do. You just start with them. You try to realize it. If it's not gonna work, it's still an experience you have in your pocket.
Try again.
Absolutely.
Or you get a totally different perspective and do something new, right?
Absolutely.
So, but there is a creative space back home, right?
Yes.
It's just not as big.
No, I can't say it wasn't big, but it wasn't big for me.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah, and how is the like, because here we still have, like with my parents, for example, when I tell them I want to do this for a living and eventually, they're like, oh, maybe you should get a normal job.
Okay.
And I'm interested in how the Turkish cultural approach to that is from your parents, for example. What do they think
Quite
about?
the same, I could say, quite the same. But thanks to my mother, she was super supportive about all the things I would like to establish in my life and for the education I would like to take. So, back then when I was studying cinema, even I didn't have any idea of what I'm going to do when I graduated. So it is the easiest part for a parent to say, don't do that and do this instead. But my mother decided not to do that. She let me be free, and so here I am, I guess.
Good, man. I think it's not bad, but it's maybe also parents trying to protect.
Yes, absolutely.
Or maybe even them never having pursued what they wanted to do, what they dreamed of.
Yes.
And they're like, my life worked out safe. You should do the same.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
less trouble and everything, right?
Probably I will do the same to my child. I don't have a child at the moment, but let's not just do it, I guess. Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to give them the best opportunities and the safest way, right?
Absolutely.
But I think the safest is to tell your kids to follow their heart, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do what you want. Fail, I will catch you and help you find something else, maybe. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I have the understanding that you were dreaming for, even though you worked back home, you were dreaming for an artistic community, and you find it here, right?
I think so.
So the questions, let's get to those. It's the first one is, I don't know if you saw it online. It's what does art mean to you?
I saw it, but I tried not to read the other answers.
I have to publish a few more as well, but I was like, if people read too much, they will like get influenced too much.
I tried not to read.
Yeah, no, it's fine, it's okay.
But it's the I think it's the hardest question to get asked as an artist. But I do believe that I have a kind of an answer which evolves by time. But for now, I could say that when someone asks me what the art is for me, I start to tell them what artist is for me. So with that answer, I go to the art. So for me, in a hypothetical world, we are all living in a world with vast oceans with no shores, and what we are trying to do in all our entire lives is to stay on the surface. Even the artist or the non-book, it doesn't matter. We all do the same. But the artist is the one with the courage to try to explore the depths. So they start to dive to understand the life, what's behind this curtain, what lies beneath, and then uses their powers to get back on the surface and express the world. So for me, the artist is the one who has the courage to do that. And when it comes to art, it is these stories that the artists tell. So it is the narrative behind the curtain, the narrative under the ocean. For me, it's like this.
So that's also answering the second question a bit, right? It's so the second question is what does make someone an artist?
Okay. Yeah, maybe I did.
So no, I think that's good. So I mean, being an artist for you, you say means diving into the unknown, maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Everyone is floating, and you go to dive to see what's beneath.
You take the responsibilities, you take the risks that could happen at the very end, because you couldn't. I mean, we call people who have some problems with their minds, we call them crazy, right?
Yes.
But they are not. They are the ones who didn't have this. They are the ones for me that dived too deep and lost all their consciousness, all their the power to get back on the surface. The power of the artist, the reality of the artist is the one who manages to get back on the surface again, I guess.
Yeah, you can get lost in art, man.
Absolutely.
You can really get lost in art.
Absolutely.
So if you had to describe, you describe an artist as that. How would you, if considering art, emotionally describe? What do you feel?
Oh, that's a deep question as well, but let me try it.
Yeah, take a moment.
Okay. It's about leaving the shame behind of the consequences what you are going to make. Because at first, even though for me, even if I completed a feature film or a commercial, doesn't matter. From very beginning till the end, I am adopting myself. This is how my mind works. Maybe it's not cool for everyone, but this is how my mind works. So I'm adopting myself. I'm adopting my decisions, my actions. But at the very end of it, it's this struggle with this shame, with this doubt. And when you're able to get past at some certain point, you become something. Because you create something, and at some point in your life, you could just say, okay, I did this. This is my work, this is my art, or this is my happening, and I'm just right back at it.
So, when you think about art, you think about pushing through a storm of shamefulness.
Yes, absolutely, and the doubt, because the shame and the doubt is what keeps us doing nothing. But the artist is the one with the courage to just go through all of it.
To put the sails in the storm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. and do you feel is there a do you think about because I had that question earlier today, or I asked that question because I somehow thought about it, and do you think about the difference between dark art, like a more mysterious, and to the other side the contrasty, colorful rainbow reggae or something? Well, how do you think there's a balance in the world where there's dark art balancing out happy art?
It should be. In my point of view, yes, it should be, but it's not. I think the darkest feelings for me, the darkest feelings are the most real ones. So I'm not saying the happiness is not belonging to this world. Also, the happiness exists. Yes. So the happy art, the colorful art will exist too. But unfortunately, with this, the way the world works now is just pushing us to, you have to be happy, you have to be successful, you have to do this, you have to do that. But no, we are human beings, we can fail, we can just have our bad days, we can have our bad moods. Maybe we did break up with our girlfriend, maybe we had a shitty day, I don't know. But at some point, I do support this colorful and happy art, yes. But in today's world, I guess it become an how do you say? It's just pushing so much.
Yeah.
I think that it's these two types of your description should be in balance. But in today's world, I guess to be happy seems like a mandatory thing to do, which I do not believe.
Yeah, there is this idea that you always have to be happy. You cannot be sad maybe for a week and then you have a month where you feel good, right? Or even just being happy in figuring out what you want, and maybe that's not always happy, right? Maybe happy is not about feeling good all the time, but about understanding that you feel all kinds of emotions. I think sometimes. Yeah, it becomes polarizing also, right? Some of the extremes.
And also, it just makes these young people to, lowball these dark feelings as well. Because when we feel this happy world, so super colorful, super happy things. When you open up the MTV, there's this a lot of rappers with a lot of money.
Everyone has a car and cash.
And when maybe it's not for us, even though it is for us. But for the young people, when they just wake up in one morning and they realize that the world is not working that way, they become sad, which is for me a made-up sadness. It's not true.
No, it's like a push narrative.
Absolutely.
What you see, everyone has. You go on the phone, everyone already has made it, pretends to have made it, right?
Which no one did.
Exactly. Maybe they're even more miserable than people watching, and then you come into that loop of feeling sad. I think we've all been there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel like that's a thing you want to maybe make a movie about?
Could be, because when I'm trying to establish a narrative, even though it's not going to be a film, it's just a script I wrote, or maybe some script I don't know. Mostly the starting point was some struggle, which of course, like all narratives, but ends up with more struggle, which I do believe life is all about. So all about trying to keep yourself on the surface. when you have time, when you have will or the courage, you dive to depths, and then if you decide to stay there, that's all. It's just game over. But you have to always come back up.
And tell the rest how it is down there.
Absolutely. Even with not telling them, it's not about telling them for me. It's even if you can tell it to yourself, that's something. That is something.
Yeah, I think that's actually, I think I'm interested for your view about being an artist. Does an artist have to share their work? Or can it be something they just do for themselves quietly?
No, I think everything should be shared, even if it's just a scribble. But you have to find the right medium.
Yeah.
You have to find the right audience. You can't just expect to write something and make people go crazy about it. So you have to understand how world works, how art works, conventionally and unconventionally, of course. But if you're not going to do that, it is going to be like doorkeeping. You have discovered something, but you're not sharing the world.
Yeah.
Even if it's not for your success or money, it doesn't matter.
Well, even if it's misunderstood, right?
Absolutely. So, for me, the doorkeeping is the lowest thing you can do to yourself as an artist and as a people. It doesn't matter. But I think all ideas have to find their spaces to get shared. Absolutely. Even if it's the shittiest one, it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, there's always drawings on walls, right? That's why they are there, maybe, because they're not meant to be on a big TV or wall or whatever, but it's the everyday situation where someone walks by and maybe smiles because there's a nice painting, right? And it makes their day brighter.
Absolutely. I do remember that back when I was living in Turkey, I do have the stencil on my street says hope. That's all.
Yeah.
But with that stencil, each morning when I'm going to somewhere to work, I don't know, to meet with people, the first thing I'm reading is that word, hope. That's it.
It's amazing.
That's it. That's the medium.
Yeah.
That's the message. That's the most applicable way of doing that, I guess. It just says hope. And it was the first thing that I have read every day. Who wrote it? I don't know. When? I don't know. It was always there.
And with which intention, you don't know either, right?
Maybe it's his nickname. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe it's his name.
But that means something else to me.
Or maybe he was in a bad spot and was like, okay, I need to get this word out, what I'm feeling. I want to feel hope.
Yeah.
And I want to share it. Yeah, I think a lot of happy art maybe even comes from a dark place, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe even to create a delusion of happiness, right? That's good. So, do you have anything planned, dreams for creating here? Tell me a bit about what's next for
Okay,
you.
what's next? So, of course, since I'm so new in here, I'm trying to establish some network, the connections, and to try to earn my money, which is the proper way to live, of course. But I used to make plans when I was in Turkey. I used to write the scripts, I used to think about making movies and stuff like that. And at that time, I didn't realize it's not about only creating. It's about meeting. It's about getting in touch. It's about getting some ideas. And since I came here, I have stopped making creations. What I'm trying to do is to get the knee touch with the people. I could be with in a good way of understanding each other. So what I'm trying to do is to live, is to share, is to
Party.
Yes, we do that a lot. We do a lot of parties. So what I'm trying to do is to understand how this city works, understand what do people living with their in minds, and at some point I think there will be a spark in between with someone or some institution, and then we will try to start to create something. We will see. But I'm not into since I came here, I'm not into furiously creating something, writing and trying to film it. I'm just here openly.
Feel it.
I'm just trying to feel it. I'm just trying to meet with people, and I think it's the best way to do your art.
Yeah, I think there's also this idea that, not for everyone, but for me, I had this idea that I always had to create to lose momentum, but also there's something in maybe spending a week or 2 weeks or 5 months just living, like going for a hike, and you get all that inspiration, and all of a sudden you create something which maybe becomes way more important for yourself than constantly doing something, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're in a good spot here for meeting people, and you have the right intentions, man. you can use the Facebook groups. They are actually very powerful, I think.
Yeah.
And I always also like the idea of volunteering, or just reaching out for Instagram. There's so many people here. I can get you some people also that do photos, or I met like the guy before was a rapper. There's so many people, and even it's just a small collab, or you come by to listen to the music. Maybe there's a person next to you who's doing something, right? It's or in a nightclub, who knows, right?
Who knows?
Maybe they're making movies or something.
Maybe. We'll see.
Let's get to the last question.
Okay, absolutely.
And it's very broad, and it would be, if your inner voice had a message to the world, what would it say?
Okay, I'll put it in this way. So, there is this one world I think I have created, but I'm not sure about that. I just want to believe that it happened that way, which is experiments. So, it's the mixture of experience and experiments. So, my inner voice is always telling me this word, experiments. So, experience it with your experiments. So, my inner voice would say the same, I guess, to the other people. Try, that's all. Experiment it. Even if it fails or it just gets successful, you got the experience. With that experience, you will once again experiment.
Experience with experience. No risk, no fun.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because if you're only thinking about doing something and not doing it, at the very end of it, you didn't have done it. That's all. You just think about doing it.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's just do it.
Yeah, I've been procrastinating for probably the last 5 years, man. but finally I'm at the point where all of a sudden I was like, this is a project I want to do. Like, that's what's been waiting for the last 5 years, right? I've been doing a bit of pictures here and there and trying, but never feeling like it's what I want. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, I should do this. And then I sit before meeting someone, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know. But then you do it and it's like, yeah, I want to do this again, I want to do this again. And it's going to the depth and coming out again, right?
I think it's the same essence that we all talked about that makes us meet in here.
Yeah.
It's this experiment, it's this experience we will have at the very end of this conversation, and it's this, the knee touch. We are connected with each other. We are here talking about this beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
So it's all about that, I guess.
Yeah, I interviewed a guy in Copenhagen who grew up in Cuba, and he said life is just an adventure, man. It's just an adventure, and wherever you end up, it's just you just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. What I do believe as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for the conversation, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Would you like to do the pictures at your place with the camera and stuff?
By the way, I did carry my camera here with this. If you like to do it in here, let's do it. Or
it's a quick walk, right?
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes.
Maybe we walk and we see if we find a nice spot on the way or something.
Let's do that.
Nice, man. I hope the microphone worked, man. Usually I write all down, but it's like now when I film it, I can focus even more, man.
Okay, then.
You do also music, right?
Yes, I do. I'm not able to do that since I came here, so I don't have my equipment in here. But I used to have my post-track band, which was my project. I was, composing the songs, trying to record it, and it was also an experiment. So I was just, I used to play guitars and the other instruments, I don't know, 20 years, I guess. But I have never recorded any music. So at one day I just decided, well, let's record it, and then it became a project. So it's like this.
Awesome. You want to finish this before we go?
Yeah, absolutely.
No rush. I actually have a lot of time. Yeah, man, music is really interesting. You think you can learn it just by listening, or you should do courses, classes, meet someone who's...
I've never taken a lesson about music.
Just...
So it's about, it'll be, I guess, super easy when you know this music theory.
And the safe battery.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, keep talking. Okay. Sorry.